The notification popped up on my screen at exactly 3:47 p.m., an email that would change everything. Internal position, Senior Operations Manager. My heart raced as I scanned the requirements. 5 years of experience? Check. Master's degree? Check. Leadership experience? Double check. After years of grinding away at middle management, this was my shot. I'm Maggie. And until that moment, I thought I had it all figured out. Good job, supportive family, and what I believed was an unshakable bond with my younger sister, Yesenia. Funny how one dinner can shatter everything you thought you knew. Dad, can you pass the potatoes? I asked, trying to contain my excitement during our weekly family dinner. The familiar scent of Mom's pot roast filled the dining room, and the clink of silverware provided a comfortable backdrop to our usual banter. So, I started, unable to hold it in any longer. Guess who's up for senior management? Mum's face lit up. Oh, honey, that's wonderful. She reached across the table to squeeze my hand. Isn't it wonderful, Stuart? Dad nodded, his mouth full of pot roast. But it was Yesenia's reaction that caught my attention. Her fork stopped midway to her mouth, and something flickered across her face. Something I couldn't quite place. That's great, she said, her voice oddly flat. When would you start? Well, I still need to interview, I explained, watching her carefully, but if I get it, it would be next month. The salary increase alone would be life-changing. Life-changing, Yesenia echoed, pushing her peas around her plate. You already make more than most people our age, Mags. Mom shot her a look. Yesenia. What? I'm just saying. She shrugged, but there was an edge to her voice I'd never heard before. Some of us are still trying to get our foot in the door while others just keep climbing. Dad cleared his throat. Your sister's worked hard, Yesenia. But you're doing well too, aren't you? That temp position at Maggie's company is going well? It's fine, she muttered, then suddenly brightened. Actually, Khalil seems really happy with my work. He mentioned possibly making it permanent. My stomach twisted slightly. Khalil was my direct supervisor, and this was the first I'd heard about Yesenia's potential permanent position. I'd helped her get the temp job 3 months ago, thinking it would be a good stepping stone for her. That's wonderful news, Mom beamed. Both my girls moving up in the world? I forced a smile, but something felt off. The conversation shifted to Dad's golf game, but I couldn't shake the unease. As we cleared the table, I heard Yesenia's whispered voice from the kitchen. Dad, can I talk to you for a minute? It's about Maggie. I lingered by the dining room, straining to hear more, but Mom called me to help with dessert. When I returned, Dad was looking at me strangely, and Yesenia wore an expression I'd never seen before, something between concern and triumph. Later that night, as I drove home, my phone buzzed with a text from Genesis, my closest friend at work. Hey, weird question. Did you know Yesenia was in Khalil's office for like an hour today? I stared at the message, remembering Yesenia's strange reaction at dinner, the whispered conversation with Dad. And now this. A chill ran down my spine as I realized something wasn't adding up. No, I typed back. I didn't know that. Genesis's response was immediate. Watch your back, girl. Something's not right. I pulled into my driveway, killed the engine, and sat in the darkness. The excitement of the promotion opportunity had been replaced by a gnawing anxiety. For the first time in my life, I wondered if I really knew my sister at all. My phone buzzed again. Another text from Genesis. BTW. Heard Khalil talking about the promotion candidates today. Your name came up, but not in a good way. I gripped my steering wheel, knuckles turning white. The pieces were starting to fall into place, but I didn't want to believe it. Not Yesenia, not my little sister. But as I replayed dinner in my mind, her reactions, her words, that whispered conversation, I couldn't ignore the warning bells anymore. Something was happening behind the scenes, and my own sister might be orchestrating my downfall. I took a deep breath and typed back to Genesis, "Tell me everything you know. Don't leave anything out." The 3 dots appeared, disappeared, then appeared again. Whatever Genesis was about to tell me, I had a feeling my world was about to turn upside down. The next morning, the office felt different. People who usually stop by my desk for coffee chat hurried past with quick, awkward nods. Even Janet from accounting, who normally couldn't shut up about her cats, barely made eye contact in the break room. Did I suddenly become invisible? I muttered, stirring my coffee. Genesis appeared beside me, her face tight with concern. We need to talk. Now. She led me to the small courtyard outside where employees usually took their smoke breaks. The morning air was crisp and the space was mercifully empty. Okay, spill it, I said, wrapping my hands around my warm coffee cup. Genesis leaned against the brick wall. Remember that happy hour last week? The one you missed because of your dentist appointment? I nodded. Well, Yesenia was there. She got pretty friendly with everyone, especially Khalil. And she said some things about you. My stomach dropped. What kind of things? She told Khalil you've been taking credit for her work on the Thompson project, said you've been pressuring her to cover for your mistakes because you're her sister. Genesis's voice was gentle, but each word felt like a slap. She made it sound like you've been manipulating her since she started here. I nearly dropped my coffee. That's insane. I helped her get this job. The Thompson project was completed before she even started. I know that, Genesis said. But Khalil doesn't. And there's more. She implied you've been bad-mouthing him to other department heads, saying he plays favourites and holds you back. The courtyard seemed to spin. That's why everyone's acting weird? They believe her? People love drama, Mags. And Yesenia, she's good at playing the victim. Really good. Just then my phone buzzed. A meeting request from Khalil for later that afternoon. My hands shook as I showed it to Genesis. Go, she said firmly. But be careful, don't let him see how much this affects you. The rest of the morning crawled by. At 2 p.m, I knocked on Khalil's office door, my heart pounding. Come in, Maggie. His usual warmth was gone, replaced by professional detachment. Please sit down. I perched on the edge of the chair, fighting to keep my voice steady. Is everything okay? He shuffled some papers on his desk. I wanted to discuss your application for the senior position. There have been some concerns raised about your management style. Concerns? I echoed, though I knew exactly what was coming. Several colleagues have expressed worries about how you handle team dynamics. There's also the matter of the Thompson project. The project I completed 3 months ago? Before Yesenia started here? I interrupted, unable to help myself. Khalil's eyebrows rose slightly. I didn't mention Yesenia. No, but she mentioned me, didn't she? At the happy hour last week. His expression shifted. Your sister seemed genuinely distressed about the situation. As her direct supervisor, I have to take these allegations seriously. Allegations? I laughed, but there was no humor in it. Khalil, I've worked here for 5 years. You know me. You know my work. I thought I did, he said quietly. But family dynamics can be complicated. As I left his office, my phone lit up with a text from Yesenia. Hope your meeting went well. Love you, sis. I found Genesis at her desk and grabbed her arm. I need a drink. 20 minutes later, we sat in a quiet corner of O'Malley's bar, and I told her everything. That little snake, Genesis hissed, signaling for another round. You know what this means, right? She's not just after your promotion, she's trying to take your whole position. But why? My voice cracked. I've always supported her, always helped her. Maybe that's exactly why, Genesis said thoughtfully. Some people can't stand feeling indebted. They'd rather destroy you than admit they needed your help. I stared into my glass, remembering all the times I'd covered for Yesenia growing up, all the times I'd helped her with school, with job applications, with everything. What am I supposed to do now? Genesis's eyes narrowed. First, we document everything, every project, every email, every interaction. Then, she paused as her phone buzzed. Her eyes widened as she read the message. What? I asked, dread pooling in my stomach. You're not going to believe this, she said, turning her phone toward me. Yesenia just sent a company-wide email thanking everyone for their support during this difficult time. She's painting herself as the victim of workplace harassment. I grabbed the phone, reading the message twice. My sister had just declared war, and she'd done it in front of the entire company. Game on, I whispered, finishing my drink. If she wants to play dirty, let's play. The rejection email arrived on a Friday morning. I read it 3 times, each word burning deeper than the last. We regret to inform you, other qualified candidates wish you continued success. My phone rang. Mom. Honey, Yesenia just told us about the promotion, she said, her voice dripping with concern. Are you okay? I gripped my desk so hard my knuckles turned white. Did she tell you why I didn't get it? She mentioned something about workplace conflicts. Mum paused. Sweetie, maybe you've been pushing too hard. You know how competitive you can get. Competitive? I laughed sharply. Mum, she lied. She made up stories about me to sabotage my chance at this promotion. Maggie! Mom's voice turned sharp. How could you say that about your sister? She's worried about you. We all are. Worried? She's... A shadow fell across my desk. Khalil stood there gesturing for me to follow him. Mom, I have to go, I said and hung up. In his office, Khalil didn't waste time with pleasantries. The senior position has been filled. I thought you should hear it directly from me. Let me guess. Yesenia got it. He shifted uncomfortably. That's confidential information. Right. I stood up. Just like the confidential information she shared about me. The lies about the Thompson project. The made-up stories about harassment. Maggie, sit down. His voice was firm. Your sister provided detailed examples of concerning behavior. Multiple colleagues corroborated her statements. Corroborated? I pulled out my phone, opened my emails. You mean like this email from 3 months ago, where you congratulated me on completing the Thompson project? Before Yesenia even worked here? Khalil's expression flickered. Or these performance reviews? I continued, my voice steady despite my racing heart. 5 years of excellence, not a single complaint, until my sister started working here. I understand you're upset. No, you don't understand anything. I stood again. You chose to believe lies from a temporary employee over 5 years of proven work. That's not just bad management, Khalil. It's pathetic. I walked out, ignoring his calls to come back. Genesis was waiting by my desk. That bad? She asked. Worse? I grabbed my purse. I need to talk to Yesenia. Want backup? I shook my head. This is family business. I found Yesenia in the break room, surrounded by a group of co-workers. She was mid-laugh, but her smile died when she saw me. Can we talk? I asked quietly. Privately? The others quickly dispersed, leaving us alone. Congratulations on the promotion, I said, watching her face carefully. She had the decency to look uncomfortable. Maggie, Why? My voice cracked. Why would you do this to me? Do what? Her innocent act was perfect. I just shared my experiences if people chose to believe me. Your experiences? I stepped closer. You mean your lies? The project you never worked on? The harassment that never happened? Maybe that's how you remember it, she said softly, but her eyes were cold. But others saw what you couldn't. How you always have to be the successful one, the perfect one, always overshadowing me. I helped you get this job. Exactly, she snapped. Always the big sister, always the helper. Did you ever think maybe I wanted to succeed on my own? By destroying my career? By creating my own path, she corrected, but wouldn't meet my eyes. Maybe it's time for you to step back. Let someone else shine. My phone buzzed. A text from Dad. Coming over tonight. We need to talk about your behavior at work. I showed it to Yesenia. You've got them all fooled, don't you? She shrugged, but I caught the slight smile she tried to hide. They're just concerned about you, Mags. We all are. You know what's funny? I said, stepping back. I actually feel sorry for you, because someday all these lies are going to catch up with you, and when they do, I won't be there to help fix it. I turned to leave, but her voice stopped me. That's your problem, Maggie. You always think you know best. But look where that got you. I didn't turn around, didn't give her the satisfaction of seeing my face. Instead, I walked straight to Genesis's desk. Remember that opportunity you mentioned last week? I asked. The one with your friend's company? Genesis nodded slowly. Make the call, I said. It's time for me to create my own path. As I walked back to my desk, my phone buzzed again. Another text from Genesis. BTW. Saw something interesting at the company party last night. There's more to this story than you know. Much more. The living room felt smaller than usual with Dad pacing back and forth, Mum perched anxiously on the edge of the couch, and Yesenia sitting there with perfectly practiced concern on her face. This has to stop, Maggie, Dad said, running his hands through his greying hair. This vendetta against your sister is getting out of hand. Vendetta? I stood up, my coffee cup rattling on the table. Have you even asked for my side of the story? We know you're upset about the promotion, Mom started. This isn't about the promotion, I interrupted. This is about Yesenia deliberately sabotaging my career with lies. Yesenia's eyes welled up with tears. See? This is exactly what I was talking about. She can't accept that someone else might be more qualified. More qualified? I pulled out my phone. Should we talk about the Thompson project again? The one you claimed credit for, even though you weren't even working there. That's enough! Dad's voice boomed through the room. Your sister came to us weeks ago, worried about your behavior. She tried to protect you, keep it within the family. But you just couldn't let it go. Protect me? I laughed bitterly. Show them the company-wide email, Yesenia. Show them how you protected me by telling everyone I was harassing you. Mom gasped. You did what? For a split second, Yesenia's mask slipped, but she recovered quickly, wiping away a tear. I had to document everything. HR insisted. After what happened with the client meeting. What client meeting? I demanded. The one where you threw me under the bus about the missing reports? She turned to our parents. She told everyone it was my fault, but she was the one who forgot to submit them. That never happened. I turned to my parents. She's lying. Again. Why would she lie? Dad asked, his voice hard. What would she gain? My job, my reputation, everything I've worked for. Listen to yourself, Yesenia said softly. This paranoia, these accusations. We're worried about you, Mags. Maybe you should talk to someone. My phone buzzed. Genesis again. Got that meeting set up. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. You need to see this. I took a deep breath. You know what? You're right. I do need help. They all looked surprised. I need help understanding how my own family can't see what's happening right in front of them. I grabbed my keys. I need help accepting that my sister is capable of this level of manipulation, and I definitely need help planning my next move. Maggie, please. Mom reached for my arm. We can work this out. I pulled away. Can we? Because right now, you're all choosing to believe convenient lies over asking any real questions. The only one lying here is you, Dad said firmly. Your sister has proof. Witnesses. What do you have? I have the truth, I said quietly. But clearly, that's not enough for this family. Yesenia stood up, arms outstretched. Mags, we just want to help you. Help me? I turned to her. Like you helped me with the promotion? Or like you're helping me now, making our parents think I'm having some kind of breakdown? See? She turned to our parents. This is exactly what I was talking about. The paranoia, the accusations. Stop saying paranoia, I snapped. You know exactly what you're doing, and someday, everyone else will too. Dad stepped between us. I think you should leave, Maggie. Come back when you're ready to apologize to your sister. Apologize? I looked at each of them. Dad's stern disappointment, Mom's worried confusion, Yesenia's perfect victim act. You know what? You're right. I should leave. I walked to the door, then turned back. But don't expect an apology, and don't expect me to come crawling back when the truth finally comes out. Maggie, please, Mom called after me, but I was already halfway to my car. My phone buzzed again. Genesis. Just got some interesting security footage from the company party. Trust me, you're going to want to see this. I started the engine, my hands shaking with anger and hurt. On my way, I texted back. As I pulled away, I caught a glimpse of my family in the window. Mom crying, Dad comforting her, and Yesenia watching me leave with what looked suspiciously like a smile. Game's not over, sis, I muttered, pressing the accelerator. Not even close. The streetlights blurred as I drove toward Genesis's place, my mind racing with possibilities. Whatever she had found, whatever was on that security footage, I knew one thing for certain. Tomorrow would change everything. Genesis's laptop screen flickered in her dimly lit living room. "Watch this," she said, pressing play on the security footage from the company party. The grainy video showed Yesenia and Khalil in what they thought was a private corner. Their body language was intimate, too intimate for a boss and employee. Then something unexpected happened. They kissed. "Holy shit," I whispered. "Keep watching," Genesis said grimly. The footage continued. They were arguing now. Yesenia's voice came through the speakers, tinny but clear. "You promised me that position. I did everything you asked." Khalil glanced around nervously. "Lower your voice. You know we can't." "Can't what?" "Tell everyone how long this has been going on? How you hired me specifically to push Maggie out?" I felt the blood drain from my face. Genesis paused the video. "There's more," she said. "But first, someone wants to talk to you." On cue, there was a knock at her door. Genesis opened it to reveal Khalil, looking like he hadn't slept in days. "What's he doing here?" I stood up, ready to leave. "Please," Khalil held up his hands. "I need to tell you something. I owe you that much." Genesis nodded encouragingly. "Hear him out, Mags." I sat back down, arms crossed. "Talk." Khalil sank into a chair. "Your sister and I. It started 3 months ago before she even worked here. She approached me at a networking event, seemed interested in my work. Things progressed quickly." "Spare me the details," I said coldly. "She told me things about you," he continued, "made me question your loyalty to the company, suggested you were planning to leave for a competitor. I was stupid enough to believe her." "Why are you telling me this now?" He pulled out his phone, showed me a text message. "Because she's threatening to go to HR about our relationship unless I fire you for harassment." "But you're coming clean instead?" I couldn't keep the skepticism from my voice. "I'm resigning," he said quietly. "First thing tomorrow. I've already written a full statement about everything. The relationship, the manipulation, how we conspired to deny you the promotion. It was wrong. All of it." Genesis leaned forward. "And that's not all. Tell her about the emails." Khalil nodded. "Yesenia used my computer when I was distracted. She sent emails from my account, making it look like I had concerns about your performance. She deleted them afterward, but IT recovered everything." My hands were shaking. "So you have proof? Real proof?" "Everything," he confirmed, "including security footage of her accessing my computer without authorization. That's a fireable offense." "Speaking of proof," Genesis interrupted, turning back to her laptop, "watch this last bit." The video showed Yesenia on her phone, speaking quietly but clearly. "Dad, you have to believe me. Maggie's becoming unstable. I'm worried about her. No, don't confront her yet. Let me handle it my way." I felt sick. She planned everything. "There's one more thing," Genesis said, pulling out a business card. "Remember that contact I mentioned? Carson Rogers. He's looking for a senior operations director at his firm. Better salary, better position, different city." "Different city sounds pretty good right now," I admitted. "He wants to meet you tomorrow," Genesis smiled. "And guess what? They're direct competitors with our company." Khalil cleared his throat. "The irony is, Yesenia's lies about you going to a competitor might actually come true." "Calm as a bitch," Genesis grinned. My phone buzzed. Another text from Yesenia. "Hope you're feeling better, sis. Family dinner tomorrow." I looked at the evidence on Genesis's laptop, then at Khalil's phone, then at Carson's business card. "No," I typed back. "I have a job interview." 3 dots appeared immediately. "What? Where?" I smiled, not responding. Let her sweat. "What are you going to do?" Genesis asked. "Nothing," I said, surprising them both. "Yet. First, I'm going to ace that interview tomorrow. Then, when I have a signed offer letter in hand," I gestured to the laptop, Then we'll show everyone exactly who my sister really is. Khalil stood up. I'll have my statement ready first thing tomorrow. It's the least I can do. After he left, Genesis poured us both a glass of wine. You know what the best part is? Yesenia has no idea what's coming. No, I said, thinking about my sister's smug face at the family meeting, but she will. My phone buzzed one more time, an email from Carson Rogers himself. Looking forward to our meeting tomorrow. Your reputation precedes you. I smiled, raising my glass to Genesis. To karma, she echoed. And to sisters who don't know when to quit while they're ahead. Carson's office felt different from any I'd been in before, warm, inviting, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. He sat across from me, reviewing my portfolio with genuine interest, not the fake enthusiasm I'd grown used to. Your work on the Thompson project is particularly impressive, he said, looking up. Tell me more about how you handled the client resistance. For the next hour, we discussed strategy, leadership, and vision. No games, no politics, just pure professional respect. I'll be direct, Maggie, he said finally, closing my portfolio. We need someone like you, someone who can build teams, drive results, and maintain integrity under pressure. My heart skipped. I appreciate that, but the salary is double what you're making now, he continued. Full relocation package to Seattle, signing bonus, and complete autonomy over your department. I tried to keep my voice steady. That's generous. It's what you're worth. He leaned forward. And yes, I know about the situation with your sister. My stomach dropped. How? Genesis filled me in. Don't worry. It only confirmed what I already knew about your character. Standing your ground while maintaining professionalism. That's exactly what we need here. My phone buzzed. Yesenia again. Why aren't you answering Mom's calls? They're really worried about you. I ignored it. Carson noticed. Family complications don't scare us, he said softly. Sometimes the bravest thing we can do is start fresh. When would you need an answer? He slid a folder across the desk. The offer letter's inside. Take the weekend to think about it, but remember, Seattle's a big city. Plenty of room to breathe, to grow, to heal. As I left his office, another text came through, this time from Genesis. Khalil submitted his statement to HR. All hell's breaking loose here. Yesenia's freaking out. I smiled, opening the folder to look at the offer letter. The salary number made me dizzy. My phone rang. Mom again. This time I answered. Where are you? She demanded. Yesenia says you're acting erratic, missing work. I was in a job interview, I cut her off. A very successful one, actually. Silence. Then, what job interview? Senior director position, different company, different city, double the salary. Different city? Her voice cracked. Maggie, you can't just run away from your problems. I'm not running, Mom. I'm walking away. There's a difference. But your sister should be more worried about herself right now, I said calmly. Check your email. I just sent you something interesting. I heard her clicking, then a sharp intake of breath as she watched the security footage. This can't be real, she whispered. It is. And there's more. Ask Yesenia about Khalil's statement to HR. Ask her about the emails she sent from his account. Ask her about— Oh, God, Mom interrupted. Your father needs to see this. Everyone's going to see it, Mom. The truth has a way of coming out. Just then, another call beeped through. Yesenia. I switched lines. You bitch, she hissed. What did you do? Me? Nothing. Karma, on the other hand. They're going to fire me, her voice cracked. Everything I worked for. Everything you stole, you mean. Everything you lied about. I deserved that promotion, she shouted. I deserved— Save it for HR, I cut her off. Oh, and Yesenia. I got a new job, director position, twice the salary. Funny how things work out, isn't it? I hung up, hands shaking, but smile firmly in place. My phone immediately lit up with messages. Dad, Mom, Genesis, even Khalil. But the one that caught my eye was from Carson. Dinner tonight. Let's discuss your vision for the department. Seattle's waiting. I looked out over the city, my city for now, and felt something I hadn't felt in weeks. Peace. I'm in, I texted back. Time for a fresh start. As I walked to my car, one last text came through from Genesis. OMG, Yesenia just got escorted out by security. She's crying about how sorry she is, how she never meant for it to go this far. Too little too late, sister. I put my phone away, started the engine, and headed home to pack. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about getting better. And Seattle was looking better by the minute. The offer letter sat on my passenger seat, a ticket to a new life. My phone kept buzzing with family drama, but for the first time in forever, I felt no obligation to answer. Let them deal with the truth they'd been so eager to ignore. I had a dinner to prepare for and a future to plan. I hadn't planned on going to my parents' house one last time, but something pulled me there. Maybe it was the dozen missed calls from Mom, or maybe it was the need for closure. Either way, I found myself standing on their familiar porch, signed offer letter in hand. The door opened before I could knock. Dad stood there, looking older than I'd ever seen him. "Come in," he said quietly. "We need to talk." The living room was tense. Mom sat in her usual spot, eyes red from crying, and there was Yesenia, makeup streaked down her face, looking smaller than ever. "I got a job offer," I said, breaking the silence. "In Seattle." "Seattle?" Mum's voice cracked. "But that's so far. That's the point." I placed the offer letter on the coffee table. "I start in 2 weeks." "Maggie," Yesenia started, but Dad held up his hand. "Let your sister speak." I took a deep breath. "I came to say goodbye and to make sure you understand exactly why I'm leaving." "We saw the videos," Dad said, his voice heavy. "Read Khalil's statement. Your mother and we owe you an apology." "An apology?" I laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You didn't just fail to believe me, Dad. You actively chose to believe the worst about me, your own daughter." "I was jealous," Yesenia blurted out. "You were always the successful one, the smart one. I just wanted to destroy my career, to make our parents think I was having a mental breakdown, to sleep with my boss for a promotion." She flinched at each accusation. "Maggie, please." Mom reached for my hand. "We can fix this. As a family." I pulled away. "Fix what? The trust that's gone? The relationships that are broken? Some things can't be fixed, Mom." "So you're just leaving?" Yesenia's voice was small. "Running away?" "Running away?" I turned to her. "That's rich coming from someone who couldn't handle earning success on her own merit. No, I'm not running away. I'm moving forward, there's a difference." Dad picked up the offer letter, whistled at the salary. "This is impressive." "It's what I'm worth," I said firmly. "What I've always been worth, while you all believed I was crazy or unstable or whatever lies Yesenia fed you." "I'm sorry," Yesenia whispered. "I never meant—" "Save it," I cut her off. "Your sorry means nothing when you're only sorry because you got caught." My phone buzzed. A text from Genesis. "Packed and ready for our celebration dinner. Carson's waiting." "I have to go." I stood up. "I just wanted you to know that I'm okay. Better than okay, actually. Sometimes betrayal shows you exactly what you're capable of." "Will you—" Mom hesitated. "Will you keep in touch?" "Maybe. Eventually. But right now, I need space. From all of you." "I understand," Dad said, surprising me. "Just know that when you're ready, we'll be here. And we'll do better." Yesenia stood up, tears flowing freely now. "Can you ever forgive me?" I looked at my sister, really looked at her, and felt something shift inside me. Not forgiveness, not yet, but maybe understanding. Someday, maybe, but not today. Today I'm choosing myself. I walked to the door, then turned back one last time. "Oh, and Yesenia? That karma you're feeling right now? Remember this feeling the next time you try to destroy someone's life." Outside, the evening air felt clean, fresh. My phone buzzed again. Carson this time. "Team's excited to meet their new director. Seattle's ready for you." I typed back, "On my way to dinner. And Carson, thank you for believing in me." As I drove away, I caught one last glimpse of my family in the rearview mirror. Mom crying on Dad's shoulder, Yesenia standing alone by the window. Part of me ached, but a stronger part felt free. Genesis was waiting outside the restaurant grinning. Ready to celebrate your escape from crazy town? More than ready, I smiled back. You know what's funny? For the first time in my life, I feel completely in control. That's not funny. She linked her arm through mine. That's justice. Inside, Carson stood to greet us, champagne already on the table. To new beginnings, he raised his glass. To new beginnings, I echoed, feeling lighter than I had in months. My phone buzzed one last time, a text from Dad. We're proud of you, even if we didn't show it right. Fly high, kiddo. I turned my phone face down. Tomorrow I'd start packing for Seattle. Tomorrow I'd begin my new life. But tonight? Tonight was for celebrating survival, strength, and the sweet taste of rising above it all. The Seattle rain tapped against my office window as I reviewed the quarterly reports. My team had exceeded every target, and Carson's proud smile when I presented the results still warmed me. My phone buzzed. Genesis, who'd joined the company 3 months after me. Guess who I just saw in the lobby? Before I could respond, a knock at my door made me look up. Yesenia stood there, soaked from the rain, looking nothing like the confident manipulator I remembered. Hi, Mags, she said softly. I gestured to the chair across from my desk. Sit. She perched on the edge, twisting her hands. Nice office. The view is... Why are you here, Yesenia? She pulled an envelope from her bag. I've been in therapy. Real therapy, not just saying it for show this time. My therapist suggested I write letters to people I've hurt. Yours. Yours was the hardest to write. I didn't take the envelope. And you flew across the country to deliver it? No, she looked down. I flew across the country because I got a job offer here. Different company, entry-level position. I wanted to tell you first, give you the chance to say no. Say no? To me being in the same city, if you don't want me here, I'll turn it down. I leaned back, studying her. The old Yesenia would have played the victim, used tears and manipulation. This version just looked tired. My phone buzzed again. Genesis. Want me to call security? No, I typed back. I got this. You know what's ironic? I said to Yesenia. Everything you did to sabotage me led me here, to this office, this view, this life. So in a weird way, I should thank you. She flinched. I don't deserve thanks. No, you don't, but you also don't control where I live or work anymore. Take the job if you want it. Hope flickered across her face. Really? Really, just remember, this is my city now, my reputation, my success. Try anything like before. I won't, she interrupted. I swear, I'm not that person anymore. My desk phone lit up, Carson calling. Sorry, I need to take this. She stood up. Of course, just... Will you read the letter? When you're ready. I nodded, and she turned to leave. Yesenia? I called after her. She paused. Start fresh. Earn your own success this time. It feels better that way. After she left, I answered Carson's call. Sorry to interrupt, he said, but I just got an interesting email from your old company. Seems they're struggling since you left. Khalil's replacement isn't working out. I smiled. Karma's still doing its job, I see. Speaking of jobs, remember that executive position we discussed? Board approved it this morning. It's yours if you want it. My other line beeped. Mom calling. Once that would have filled me with dread. Now. Can I call you back in 5, Carson? I switched lines. Hi, Mom. Did Yesenia find you? She asked. She was so nervous about seeing you. She did. She seems different. She is. We all are. Mom paused. Your father and I are so proud of you, honey. Not just the success, but how you handled everything. You showed us all what real strength looks like. My eyes burned. Thanks, Mom. After we hung up, I finally opened Yesenia's letter. Pages of honest, raw confessions spilled out. No excuses, no manipulation, just truth. At the bottom, she'd written, I don't expect forgiveness. I just want you to know that watching you rise above my betrayal taught me more than any success I tried to steal ever could. Genesis appeared in my doorway. You okay, boss? I smiled, looking out at my rain-soaked city. You know what? I really am. Good, she grinned. Because Carson just sent the executive promotion details to the whole team. We're celebrating tonight. No excuses. I glanced at Yesenia's letter one last time before filing it away. Some wounds need time to heal, but they don't have to define you. Success, real success, isn't about getting even. It's about getting better. My phone lit up with congratulatory messages from my team, from Carson, from my parents, even one from Khalil. You deserved this all along. I'm sorry I couldn't see it then. I stood up, grabbing my coat. Come on, Genesis, let's go celebrate. To Karma, she suggested. No, I smiled, thinking of Yesenia's letter, my new promotion, and the long road that led here. To growth. Sometimes the best revenge is simply becoming exactly who you were meant to be. The Seattle rain had stopped, and through my window I could see the sun breaking through the clouds. Perfect timing, as always.